Hey students, so today's topic is about author's purpose. You know who is writer or author? An author is basically a writer of any poem, of any novel, of any book. Okay, an author writes to share the main idea about a topic. An author's main idea is directly related to the author's purpose. In simple words, author means the reason why a writer writes something. Every writer has a goal. They may want to make you laugh, teach you something, convince you, describe something, or tell a story. In simple words, author's purpose means why the author wrote the text. In simple words, okay? Author's purpose. Sorry. Means why the author wrote the text. Wrote the text. You can read it with definition so you can better know that the main idea of this definition is this author's purpose, why the author wrote the text. An author purpose in his reason for our intent in writing. An author purpose may be to amuse the reader, to persuade the reader, to inform the reader, or to or to satirize a condition. Okay, let's move towards the next. There are four main types of author purpose. I will explain this whole table with this document so that you can understand it easily. Hmm. We have four main types of author's purpose. Narrative writing. Narrative writing simply means to tell a story. The writer wants you to tell a story or share events. It can be real or imaginary. It usually has characters and events. In the story we generally have characters, we have events. So writer wants you to tell a story or shares event. For example, I weighed only 8 pounds when I was born. The writer is simply trying to tell you a story about something that happened, okay? And descriptive writing. Descriptive writing basically means to describe something. The writer wants you to look how something and look, sounds, smells, or feels. It helps reader imagine clearly. Its basically purpose is to the writer purpose is basically how something looks, sounds, smells, or feels. For example, her cheeks were red as roses. In this example, you can see that writer wants to describe her beauty, her cheeks with a red rose. With comparison with red rose, her cheeks were red as roses. Simple meaning the writer is painting a picture using word. Okay. Persuasive writing. Persuasive writing simply means to convince. The writer wants you to agree with them. They give reasons and opinions. They want you to change your thinking or take action. For example, the death penalty should be abolished. Simple meaning the writer is trying to convince you. Persuasive means to convince you, and descriptive means to describe, narrative means to tell a story. You simply remember these words so that you can understand all the things very easily. Narrative writing means to tell a story. Descriptive writing means to describe something. And persuasive writing means to convince something. Okay. So you can remember it very clearly. The narrative writing means to tell a story. Descriptive writing means to describe something, and persuasive writing means to convince something. Okay. The next one is expository writing. It simply means to inform or to teach. These writings simply have information. The writer wants you to give facts and explanation. It may have no personal opinions. It just have information. For example, You can say that there are 9 planets in the solar system. There are no personal opinion in this. It is just a information. Okay. For example, pain is a normal part of physical process. In simple, the writer is teaching or explaining something. The writer wants you to teach something. Okay. First, you just need to remember this. Wait. Narrative writing means to tell a story. Wait. Hmm. Narrative writing. Tell a story. Okay. The next one is descriptive writing. Simply means, sorry, to describe, oh, sorry. Hmm. To describe something. Okay. The next one is persuasive writing. Persuasive. Persuasive writing. It simple means to convince. Okay. The next one is expository writing. It simple means to inform, sorry, to inform or teach. Okay. These are the keywords so that you can understand it easily. Okay. Let's move towards the next one. Here are the explanation of the thing. Okay. Let's move towards the next topic. Okay. In simple, you can say there are 5 main purpose of the writer. Okay. Effective author consider their purpose for writing and use this process to guide them as they develop their main idea and supporting points. Readers who identify an author's purpose can get more meaning from the text, even though some purposes may overlap. The 5 main reasons are entertain, explain, illustrate, inform, persuade. Entertain. Entertain simply means, as you guys can know, that to make you feel something. Explain to help you understand a process. Illustrate to help you see it in your mind. You can say that to help you to imagine clearly. And inform to teach something new. And persuade to convince you. So here are the tables of the things so that you can understand all the things very easily. Okay. Wait, I will explain you. When the author writes to entertain, they attempt to develop a connection with a reader and evoke an emotional reach such as laughter, fear, or shock. For example, writing a personal narrative about your experience driving a fuel insufficient vehicle in order to develop sympathy so readers feel the hopelessness and despair you felt when struggling to keep gas in your car driving to and from school. In this example you can see that the writer wants to make you something. Okay, make you something, hopelessness. Okay. The next is When the author writes to explain, they attempt to show the audience a process and or how certain events and ideas are interrelated. In simple words, the writer wants you to explain something that is, for example, an expository essay may explain recent increase in gasoline prices in order to help reader understand the cause and effect of global supply and demand. In this, the writer wants to explain something to help you understand a process. Okay, when the author writes to illustrate, they attempt to help reader visualize an event, object, or experience by describing it in detail. In simple words, let's move to examples so that you can understand it easily. A personal narrative may discuss an experience driving a fuel inefficient vehicle in order to demonstrate the frequently changing prices of gasoline. Uh, in simple, the writer wants you to illustrate. It means to help you see it in your mind. You can imagine this, okay? When the writers to when the authors write to inform an audience, they attempt to educate them and make them aware of a topic. For example, an expository essay may outline recent increases in gasoline prices to inform in order to inform customers of the gross over inflation of these prices. In simple, the writer wants you to inform something, to teach something new about this, okay? And when the writers to when the word persuade comes, you simply means to convince something, okay? They attempt to convince readers to adopt a certain new topic. For example, the author of research essay about the global supply and demand for gasoline tries to convince readers and the demands for such products is artificial and based mostly in predictions, or that the demand is real and based on actual demand. Okay, let's move towards the last topic, and you have finally exercises. Tone. Okay. Tone simply means the writer's feeling in the writing. Okay. I will just explain you in the word one line so you can understand it more quickly from this line. Tone simple mean the writer's feeling in the writing. The writer's feeling in the writing. Okay. The writer's feeling in the writing, basically the writer's attitude or feeling about a topic. It shows how the writers feel. Although the writer is happy, angry, serious, funny, neutral. In simple, the writer's feeling in the writing. Okay. So we have the two types of huh. So we have the two types of sorry, we have the two types of tone, positive tone and negative tone. Positive tone, the writer sounds happy, kind, or hopeful. Positive simple means, we take the word positive in very positive manner, like positive means uh happy, kind, or hopeful, you can say. Okay. And the word negative means annoyed, anxious, desperate, confused, bad or negative, you can say. Bad or negative. Simple. Okay. Positive tone, the writer sounds happy, kind, or hopeful. For example, cheerful, confident, delightful, admiring. Whereas the negative tones, annoyed, anxious, confused, feeling bad, or negative. Okay. And we have the third one is neutral. Neutral simple means the writer sounds calm and factual, no strong emotion. For example, academic, fair, impartial, just giving information. Just just giving information. Okay. We have the exercises so that you can understand it easily. Read each paragraph, then select the answer that best describe the author's purpose in the writing. The word is terracide. It is not committed with guns and knives, but with relentless bulldozers, roaring dump trucks, and giant shovels like mythological beasts. Dynamite cuts and rips apart mountains to teach the minerals inside, leaving nothing but empty naked hills. The land is left wasted and allowed to slide down upon houses and it into streams, making the land unlivable and the streams water undrinkable. This is terracide, or if you prefer, strip mining. The author purpose is to, you have to tell me what is the purpose of the author in this. Yes, you are right. The writer wants to you tell about something, narrative. You can say that this is a narrative, okay? The writer wants you to tell a story about something. Okay, the next one is you guys can read it and understand it and tell me what is the purpose of the author in this. Okay. The human sex chromosomes are of the XX and XY pattern. The Y chromosome is much smaller than the X chromosomes. Two types of sperm cells are formed during gametogenesis. Half of these have the X chromosome and the other have the Y chromosome. Every egg cell has an X chromosome. Therefore, fertilization determines the sex. If a Y sperm cells fertilize the egg, a male develops. The author purpose is to in this the author wants to describe something. He wants to describing a chromosome. Basically in this passage he wants that we have the XX and XY chromosome. What is the purpose of Y chromosomes and what is the purpose of X chromosomes? Okay, every X cell has an X chromosome. Okay, tell me the next one. To make a delicious New England pit, proceed as follows. Take some water and flour, then construct a bulletproof dough. Make this into a dish shaped object. Dry it for a couple of days in a mild temperature. Pour and stew dried apples and slabs of citron. Leave it in a safe place until it petrifies. Serve cold at breakfast and invite your mother in law. So, tell me what is the purpose of author in this? Yes, you guys can do it. Yes. In this passage, the author purpose is to persuade the readers to buy New England pie. Okay? The writer wants you to convince to buy the New England pie. Okay?